You're like a dream that's coming true. Yeah, you're like a dream that's coming true.
Welcome to the Lone Star Play Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Scott Armstrong. Join me and a famous guest. We discuss their career, life, food, Texas, and everything in between. Let's get started. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Lone Star Play Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Scott Armstrong. Look, let's get to it, okay? I babble every time for these intros. I can't help it. It's just so much to tell y'all. Okay, look, first of all, just thank you for being you, for listening, watching, supporting, liking, subscribing. Hit that button. Okay, look, my guest today is Jolie Holland. Amazing singer, songwriter. She had a beautiful performance on the podcast, so you'll get to hear that somewhere near the end of the interview, more or less. Mesmerizing voice, just absolutely beautiful. And this was just a great podcast. We just had a regular conversation about, current events, her career, Texas, food. She knows a lot about food. Probably one of the most knowledgeable people about food we've had on the podcast, to be honest with you. That was great. We just talked a lot about a lot of different things, and I loved that very much. It just went where it went, and she was just very cool to talk to. And you could see that that's just how she is as a person, right? And I like that. That's very endearing and genuine. She was just really, really cool. I can see why she has such a big fan base, but that people are just, sort of, magnetized by her. Is that the word? Magnetized? I don't know. Attracted to her in that sense. I don't mean physically or in that sense. Of course, as well. I'm really digging a hole here, aren't I? I'm going to stop while I'm ahead. I think you know what I meant. Mesmerizing still. Okay. All right. So, yeah, Jolie Holland, awesome performance. Amazing woman. Great conversation. You're going to enjoy. So before we get to that, we're going to have a word from our sponsor and then a quick word from me again before we get to the episode. And then, we'll get to it, guys. All right, here we go. Word from our sponsor, Texas Real Food. Okay, Texas Real Food. Look, guys, I, thank them so much for helping us, get this podcast going. And we're a team. Love Texas Real Food. So please check them out, texasrealfood.com. All right. Look, before we get to the interview, you know what I'm going to say. Or maybe you don't. But what I'm going to say is, first of all, thank you again. But I also want to say, don't forget to follow us on social media. That's right. Lone Star Plate TX. Or our website, lonestarplate.com. Go to our YouTube, the Lone Star Plate. You notice a trend here? The Lone Star Plate, okay? If you're looking for us somewhere, just search Lone Star Plate. We're going to come up. Boom. But please support us. The best thing you do is share a post, share a video, share an episode, something, a clip on YouTube. That's the best way to get the word spread. And it is spreading, and we are gaining. So we appreciate it. So thank you so much. Let's keep doing it. All right, let's get to it. Jolie Holland, enjoy. So, hey, listen, this is so awesome. I'm so excited to talk to you. And yeah, get into this. Where are you at right now, by the way? I'm sorry. Didn't mean to jump around.
I'm in LA.
So you weren't here for the Texas winter storm.
No, it's so upsetting. I'm so mad, and I'm grieving for all these people.
Oh yeah. I moved in the middle of it. So I lived in Austin, and I moved from Austin to Dallas in the middle of it, right on Saturday. I packed on Friday and left on Saturday. And yeah, it was a tough week. I actually had a family stay with me because I had a daughter and a dog, and they were sleeping in their car. And I was like, oh, hell no, you're not sleeping in your car. Like, come over to my house. And yeah, it was absolutely the craziest week I've experienced in Texas, to be honest with you, because it was so widespread.
right? It was a whole state. Usually it's like a city or something. And then we all, push to work together to help whatever the problem is. But this was like you couldn't call anybody. Everyone was suffering. It was so crazy. I just never been through anything like that. It was so cold too, just ridiculously cold.
Well, basically, I mean, it was a political problem. It wasn't like a weather problem per se.
It was both, right? It was the weather revealed the problems that we had and we didn't take care of. Just like you said, political nonsense. What devastated me and most of the people I know in Texas during that time was that people were like fighting about that stuff in the middle of people suffering. It was like, look, let's deal with that later. Let's get people power, warmth, food. Like, let's deal with that first instead of, pointing the finger back and forth. You're seeing all these, like, our governor, Abbott went on Hannity. First of all, I hate Hannity. I hate that guy. I hate that show. And he goes on there and he starts blaming wind power and like the green. This is what he said. This is what the Green New Deal will do for us. What? Yeah. All of a sudden he connects right the Green New Deal to this. Like that's I mean, it was like, what are you doing? Like it was honestly, it was really upsetting. Ted Cruz jumping off to Cancun, leaving us stranded here. Meanwhile, Beto is on the phone, literally calling people from his phone to check on people. They called thousands of people to check on him. AOC, she's not even from Texas, raised $5 million for us.
I know. Awesome. It's cool. I mean, it's exactly how we talk about Katrina. We pretend it's like an act of God, but it was actually, choices that people made.
Yep. Yep. Were you there in New Orleans for that?
No, I mean, my family is from Texas and New Orleans specifically. Like, my ancestors came over to New Orleans like 1720. So, wow. Yeah, and
where are they from? So what part? Where from? France, Spain?
From France, yeah.
France, okay. I was surprised to see that New Orleans had such a Spanish history that I didn't even know about till I took my Spanish wife there. And then all of a sudden we're going and looking all this stuff. She's like, whoa, boom, boom, boom. This is all Spanish. And then we went to, I mean, it was like, what? I had no idea. I've been in New Orleans a million times. I thought it was just like French, right? Like my whole life. Like that's all I thought. So, no, but I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's great. Yeah, it's really culturally rich for sure.
It's one of the best cities in the world to me. It's awesome.
Yeah, the history is really amazing. Just understanding that. Yeah, it's like it's such a specific thing.
Yeah, it really is. That city really is. Absolutely. So, okay. So, after Katrina happened, I guess your family was affected on all that, right? I would imagine. Shit,
well, my family
was from Houston too. So you got, Hurricane Harvey. Oh wow. Your family's been through it.
No, everybody was fine, like, no, yeah.
That's good.
Everybody was all right. Yeah.
That's great.
I mean, our neighbors were really, went through hell.
Somebody, right? Yeah. You always know somebody that went through it for sure. Yeah. Wow. Well, that's crazy. It's been a crazy year, right? Just period. Like I thought 2020, right? I think a lot of us were like, okay, we got 2020 behind us, but we could start 2021, off a little bit better. But
I was really excited about 2020. I had like this, like almost like magical numerological optimism about it. That's ridiculous.
You're not alone. Trust me. I think we all felt that way. Like I was thinking the roaring 20s, right? 2020 started off fantastic for me, right? For a lot of people, I'm sure. Right. And then it just, of course, took a turn for the worse.
I'm doing this cool thing. They recently developed this program where you can fix your eyesight. Like if you have myopia, there's like a really easy program to do now. And you can pay to do it, but I'm doing it for free. And I literally could have gotten back to 2020 vision in 2020, but like my habits went all to shit. Like I was just too stressed out to like
Sure.
follow the program. So, but yeah, I think I even lost ground. Like it's kind of a slow process. It's
Sure.
not like a magical fix, but
Yeah, right on. Yeah, you know what? Again, you're not alone. It's like, especially when the pandemic started, it was like, oh, I have all this time. I'm gonna do all these things, and then
mhm.
like, yeah, I feel like I went backwards a little bit, right? Like, it was like, oh
Yeah.
man, yeah,
Did
yeah.
did you ever imagine living through a pandemic before this?
No, no, of course not. Never, never in a million years. And honestly, I was kind of still in denial for the first month. Like,
Mm.
you know what I mean? Like this can't, how does this happen? You know, like this is unreal. There's no way that this is going to last. You know, I kept that, well, it just lasts this long and this long. And then, right. Yeah, no, I never did. What about you? Were you ever,
I
about for
mean,
you?
again, you know, it's a man-made problem. Like we were so used to having, you know, semi-functional leadership that would at least keep, you know, we were used to having a CDC, we were used to having a World Health Organization that would prevent stuff like this happening. And this is what happens when you go in and you gut everything. Like, I mean, thank God it was not Ebola, you know, thank God it was not more deadly, because it easily could have. I'm kind of a history buff, especially like thinking about um you know, people's lived experience. So
Sure.
I definitely did imagine it. I, you know, I've always like heard stuff about whatever plagues and the flu epidemic 100 years ago, and I
Yeah.
always thought like that's a trip. Like what would that be like? And it's interesting to see like vestiges of what we're going through now repeated in the past, but they didn't have the science that we have. Like, you
Yeah.
know, porches used to be so important. Like getting back to Texas, like you see these houses with these huge porches. Um, that was because people needed basically fresh air to social distance.
Oh, I didn't
And
know
they
that.
didn't, yeah, they didn't really understand like the science behind it, but they knew that, you know, people who spent more time outside didn't get as sick.
That's
Yeah, but
interesting. Wow.
mhm.
That is crazy.
And you see it at like old folks, like my cousins. I live in a duplex with my favorite cousins out here, and they're like um you know, they're boomers, so they talk about like old folks that they knew, and those people were, there was like a craze in California for sleeping with your windows open. Like, and that's the same thing that's coming from like, oh, fresh air is going to save our lives.
Yeah, fresh air will save our lives. You know, that is funny. I think old people do say, just go out and get some fresh air, right? You feeling bad? Just go out and get some fresh air. That's funny you
Hmm.
say that. That's crazy. Wow, this is cool. I wasn't expecting to learn this stuff. I didn't know that about the porches. That's a really interesting
Yeah.
fact. That's really interesting. That makes a lot of sense. You know, it's funny because that's it, right? They see things working for some reason. They don't know why, but they continue to do them, right? And then here we
Hmm.
are 100 years later, like you said, we have way more science. I mean, we've been to the moon. Hello, you
Hmm.
know, and we still doing the same stupid shit 100 years later, repeating the same mistakes. I don't get it.
Yeah, culture is slow in a
Yeah,
really interesting way. It's
that's
like it's
funny.
really interesting, like, you know, and we value these things that hang on. Like we value like, you know, cooking traditions and like
Sure.
somebody's got a cool accent, you know, like stuff like this. But other really dumb things hang on too.
Yeah, that's so true. Wow, that is crazy. Yeah, that is funny. Why is it like that? Why do you think culture hangs behind like that? You know?
Well, I mean, there's really good reasons for it. Like, I mean, we like to think of ourselves as like we're so, humans are so cool and special, but like,
Right.
but we're just animals, and it's really valuable to kind of have this like almost embodied, encoded, like almost instinctual way of remembering how to do things. It's like, think about birds. Like they don't get to know their parents. Their mom doesn't teach them stuff that, that much stuff. They just realize what happened to them as a child, and then they replicate it.
Yeah. Oh, that is interesting. That is interesting. Speaking of, we're just animals, we're just humans here. Did you see the rover? I know this in Texas it was a lot going on, but in the middle of the week we landed that the Perseverance on Mars.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that video and stuff? I thought that was so cool. I think that alone I think is reason for us to start thinking about ourselves like on this planet of helping each other, and we're all in this, right? Like just that image alone on Mars of this
Mm-hmm.
just complete barren place that probably had life before, right? Like we think we're special, right? And that's the point. I mean, I hate to say this, and we're not really that special in the sense that I think life is everywhere, in my opinion, in the universe, right? Like just the odds of it. So, but that doesn't mean anything. I guess you're special in your own way, but we're not, like, life isn't special, maybe. I don't know. I guess it's a complicated thing of, I guess, just perspective of how you think of it. Some people, if you think of yourself as insignificant, that like your life has no meaning. But for me, that doesn't mean anything, right? It's just, okay, I'm stardust. That's cool to me. I'm happy with that. I find it fascinating that there's so much out there that we don't know, and we
Mm-hmm.
don't have all the answers. I'm okay to die without all the answers. I'm okay with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, me too. That's all right.
It's a funny thing, right? It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a paradox, but I was not that inspired by the Mars thing. I'm friends with Brett Gurwitz, who's in that band Bad Religion. I used to be on his record label. Sorry, I was on his record label called Anti.
Wow. Yes. Oh yeah. I read that.
So Epitaph is the name of his label, and then they started like a side, non-punk rock boy band arm, which is called Anti, and the first artist on that was Waits, and then Merle Haggard was on there for a while.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. And so I was actually the first woman on on Anti, and it was so cool telling my grandmother before she died, like, Grandma, I'm on a label with Merle Haggard.
Yeah.
My family from East Texas, they're like, you out in California? Like, they're like, I guess they like your music out there. Like, they, like, just not, I mean, they're like, redneck-ish, and they joke hard, but they didn't get it. I mean, they were into like Western swing and stuff.
Sure.
And my great uncles played with Bob Wills.
Oh wow.
So that so they were kind of used to more sort of music that had more of a bigger footprint culturally than what I do. And I grew up going to these dances that my great uncles would put on, and they're twins.
Oh, really? They're performance twins? Oh, that's cool. That's pretty cool.
And actually the last one just passed away. He got to be
I'm sorry to hear that.
He got to be almost 99. No, it's cool.
Wow, 99. That's a life. I hope I get to that age. I'm envious. I hope I make it that far. Wow, that is so. Is that where you got your love for music, you think? From starting to go there, or?
Oh, I really don't know. I mean, I've been writing songs since I was like literally, I think I wrote my first song when I was 6. So like that, and I remember it. I can play it for you. So
wow.
I don't even know. Like, I definitely didn't get any lessons or helpful encouragement as a kid. But they also just didn't mess with me about music. Like, I would get I would get grounded and go to my room, and like literally there was a piano in my room.
Wow.
Not because they didn't get me a piano, but like my mom's friend was moving out of town, and my mom kept the piano for her because they couldn't sort out the movers, and they put it in my bedroom. So I would be grounded with a piano.
And you just go to town on that thing. So you just taught
I just
yourself to
played.
play. Wow.
I just played all the time. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. Were you always interested in writing originals? Is that why you started to play music? Or were you
I
interested in covering other songs and getting into
I
that?
was because I never had any education, like I didn't even know how to learn somebody else's song for a really long time.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were just all about the originals, writing your own stuff, getting that out.
Yeah, I had to be. And
Yeah.
then I met a girl in junior high who like started teaching me guitar when I was 13. So
Oh, wow.
then I could start to learn other people's songs.
Yeah. Yeah. From guitar. That's, I feel like, I don't know if everyone does that, but I got a guitar in high school too and tried to, just so I could enter a talent show. I remember I was like, okay, I
Oh,
want to play this talent
cool.
show. And I wrote a song for it, but I didn't even know how to play guitar. But I wrote the song. I was like, okay, I got to learn to play the guitar, at least a few chords, right? I just needed 2 or 3 chords that I could get up and do. And I practiced for like 2 months on this shitty pawn shop guitar that I got.
Yeah.
And I did it. It was fun. It was, learning guitar is super hard, right? There's that first hump of, I'm not going to be able to do
Mhm.
this. This is not going to happen. How do people? My thing was like, I couldn't get the rhythm of my hand. Right?
Mhm.
And now it's like, no, I've been playing guitar for so long now, but I remember that being the thing. It was like, how do I? It was so choppy, and even my fingers on the action. I remember it was like an inch off of the fret. Right? It was just like, oh
Oh
my
yeah.
god.
It's brutal. Those guitars that we have to learn on, I don't know how anybody does it. I mean,
Right.
I yeah.
My fingers were bleeding. I remember that. My mom was like, dude, what's wrong with you? I was like, I'm practicing guitar in the garage. Oh man, that's funny. Well, that's great. So your friend teaches you guitar, and now what? Were there people around you? I'm always curious about this with artists. Were there people around you telling you, yeah, you got something, this is great, or not? I hear
I
different things.
mean,
I mean, everybody's got a story, but
yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the curse of the gifted and talented. Like I was always one of the best musicians in my like I was in I got to start playing violin in school orchestra,
oh
and
wow.
it's back when we had that. And I never had private lessons. Like I literally got gossip from a girl down the street who had private lessons, and I would get tips from this child, you know? So
That's funny. That's funny.
and it's unfortunate, because I never really had any structure for learning anything else. But there's also a power in being self-educated. And then like in my 20s, I started being able to play with these older jazz guys who were like 20 years older than me. And they had
That's your
music.
school, right? That's your school right
Exactly.
there.
Exactly. And like, so then I learned like language around music. I learned how to call a song. I learned how to put a song in my key for my voice. And a lot of people get really tripped up by education, and I've had really beautiful people like this in my bands before. Like I have a really sweet friend whose father is a famous choral teacher,
A
and
choral teacher. What is
like
that?
he would lead choirs, and his choirs like
Okay,
won
got it.
all the competitions, whatever. And her mother was first viola in her city orchestra. So she was, like a symphony brat. And she was terrified to sing. Like she had been trained to sing and she could not sing because
Wow.
that classical education can be so brutal, and it can be really disrespectful of creativity and
I
like an
see.
individual voice.
I see what you're saying.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's
and this
interesting.
girl was like, she was getting a check from the symphony when she was 15. Like she's a total badass.
Yeah. Wow. But for some reason in that right, in that environment, she couldn't shine as well. Right? Is that it?
It was just too traumatic, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Oh, that's so interesting. So, you know, this I'm from the restaurant industry. I had a food truck in Austin
Mhm.
for many years.
Awesome.
Love food, right? We're sponsored by Texas Real Foods. It's a big deal for us. We push food on here. We support, all the local farmers and ranchers, and I'm all about that local food.
I
And there's
love
a
it.
big thing. There's a big thing among chefs of, I don't have any formal training, but I worked
Mhm.
for so many other chefs in restaurants and this and that in the world. So not just in America,
Yeah.
but there's this thing in the restaurant industry, sort of what you're saying, like some chefs had formal training. They went to culinary school and they this and that, and they got out and blah, blah, blah. But they had a lot of
Mhm.
bad habits and they had these things and maybe they didn't know certain things. Right. And other chefs who had no formal training, but had worked with particular chefs and this and that were awesome. Right. They just have these
Mhm.
great habits and this and that. And I remember this one chef, John, shout out to Chef John. He's been on the podcast. John Thompson. He told me this one time. I'll just never forget it. It was years and years and years ago when I worked for Chef Stephen Piles. And he said, basically, like, look, dude, if I were you, I wouldn't go to culinary school. What I would do is take that money
Mhm.
and use it to live off of and go work for different chefs for 6 months at a time, right? For 2 years,
Yeah.
just go boom, 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 and go work for different things that you want to learn, right? You want to learn this technique, go
Mhm.
work for this chef. You want to learn this style of food. And it's not kind of like for music, right? You want to learn this and that, like go here and do that. So that's interesting that was that your plan the whole time? Or did you ever think along the line, no, I do want to get some sort of education? Or you strayed away from it?
I really appreciate hearing about your process. So I love like hearing this about you as a kid being like, I want to be at this show. That's so cool. It's really cute. I was never that person. So my deal is like I started out really as a poet and a musician separately, and it took me several years to join them up. So I had these two strains that were developing on their own, and it was this gradual process. So I'm really not a performer. Like I mean, I love my fans and I want to, do the best thing for them, but like I hate standing in front of standing in the lights. I do not want to do
Really?
that. No, I
Really?
hate it. So I'm
Wow.
a writer, you
Okay.
know, and writers are shy. They don't know what to do with the fucking spotlight, that. No, I don't know. So, and like I'm grateful, that some people like that style of performance. Like it's like a real like inner concentration, and like to me the music is and the performance is important, but it's not like showbiz. It's more
Yeah.
like some inner experience. It's like no, unfortunately. And that's why I like having really cute people in my band. I
You feel
like
like it takes the attention off of you,
I
and
like
so you can
having
just sing.
yeah, I like having badasses in my band.
I mean,
Um,
that's of course, yeah, yeah, absolutely.
who might be more into showing off than me. But it's interesting, like the culture around music is not set up that way. And like every single time I go into a venue, I have to remember, to say to the lighting people, light the entire band. because sometimes they put them all in the dark. And I'm like, do you see how cute this guitar player is? No, we need a light on him.
That's funny. That is
Or like,
funny.
I love watching a drummer. I want to be able to see the drummer, and like,
Yeah.
I don't, mm.
I don't know if I ever had this conversation on the podcast. I love this. I've talked to so many artists and musicians. This has never come up one time, and I love this because that's very interesting that you say that. That is very interesting. Why do you think that is? Is that something you always struggled with, or has it come and
Oh,
gone?
well, it's just because I'm a writer.
Is that it? That's the whole reason. That
I
nothing.
mean, I
Okay.
just
Yeah.
don't, I'm not there. I'm not there to like dance. Uh,
That is funny. Do you ever
and
get people like fans saying stuff about that? Do they notice it? Do they like, hey, you seem awkward up there, or are you happy up there? Or has that ever happened? Have you ever heard any feedback like that?
I mean, I think some people say it, but it's like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I mean, of course. Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. Absolutely. I wouldn't care one way or the other. Absolutely. You got to be you. Right. That's what people really want to go see is genuine. Right? Not somebody trying to be something they're not. I don't know. I feel like we see through that pretty easily as fans. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I really don't know. I mean, I really appreciate like super embodied players, I love that, but it's not my thing. And it's
Yeah.
also not like I can't dance. I can dance. I just don't want to do it on stage.
Yeah. Oh, that's even cooler. That's actually even cooler. It's like I can do it. I just not here. I think that's
No.
even cool. That's even cooler. Wow, that is, that's fascinating I've heard that before actually. I just interviewed Lee Nash. She was in the band Sixpence None the Richer. I don't know if you've heard of that
Oh,
band before.
cool. I gotta say, the girl that taught me how to play guitar was in that band.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, very cool. Yeah. So Lee basically said what you just said. Like she gets super nervous, doesn't like the lights on her, doesn't like the spotlight. Like it makes her, she has to like sort of get herself worked up to get on stage and to face
Mhm.
that. I found that
It's a
fascinating. I was
It's
like,
a lot of
wow.
pressure.
Yeah.
It's also something that men don't experience. And I gotta name shout my girl because like she's the greatest. Tess Wiley is the
Absolutely.
woman that taught me how to play guitar. So
Shout out.
yeah, my boyfriend, he's a good looking guy. He has like amazing hair. He has like, him and his mom have like the most incredible, like thick, stunning hair. And he can grow this like dream beard, and like he literally, but he's a total hippie and just doesn't care about that stuff. And he literally cut his beard off because it made him shy, because people would always comment on his beard.
Wow.
And so he gets on, he puts on a shirt and a pair of boots and just like, that's it. He just dresses up and in like his like stage outfit, which is probably like 10% nicer than his like regular clothes, like not a big deal.
Yeah.
And that's it. That he's on stage and he doesn't think about it, but like there's definitely so much pressure on women to like put some goop on your face.
Yeah.
And like
totally. I see.
Get into the necromancy of your outfit,
Sure.
It's like, it's some deep, weird black magic,
That sucks, really, right? That sucks. I hate that you guys have that pressure. That stinks. That sucks. Man. That's not fair. I mean, I hate to say that, but that's not fair. It shouldn't be that way, right? Why is it like that, you think? I feel like the world is going through a lot of this stuff right now. Like we're sort of having to face a lot of these issues, right? Head first. I don't know. It seems that way with race, gender, right? A lot of these things are coming up, which I'm happy to discuss and lean
Mhm.
into and talk about. I think for me, it's about time in a lot of instances.
Mhm.
And this is one of them, right? I hear something like that, and that breaks my heart to hear that you know some guys like doesn't even have to worry about that. Now, I'm sure there are guys that get nervous and go up, but what you're saying is
Mhm.
that is something they don't have to worry about. That, putting all this stuff on, getting up, maybe putting on some sort of special outfit or something, and you have to look a certain way, I guess, as a woman that a man just doesn't even have to worry about. And I honestly never thought about that.
I loved going to see Lucinda Williams. Like, I don't know, I think it was about, oh God, it might have been over 10 years ago. It was a really cool show. She opened up for George Jones.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really sick. Do I have it straight? Yes, yes. So it was amazing to go see her because she looked incredible. She had on this like really sick outfit, and she like her hair looked really cool. And the dudes in her band looked like they were going fishing. And I was like, really, guys, come on.
That sucks. But you're right. Guys just throw on some jeans and a shirt and right, that's it. And jump on the stage and don't even think twice about it. Now, I was in a band many, many years ago, like in my early 20s, just stupid, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's done that. And I remember the first drummer we had in the band, he did take like 3 hours to get ready for the show. I mean,
Whoa.
yeah, his hair was like down like midway to his back. So he took like half of the
Wow.
time was to get his hair perfect. I mean, had to have it just
Damn.
perfect. Shirt had to be perfect. Pant. I mean, he had every little accessory. And I mean, he looked fantastic. He was not a
Cool.
good drummer though. I was like, dude, you spend, you should spend more time learning to play drums instead of
Mm-hmm.
looking good. Maybe that's the guy's problem, right? Maybe that's it. I don't know. I mean, we're digging into this. Maybe that's the guys, guys can't multitask. They can't do two things. They're stupid. We're stupid. All right.
I think
Women can,
nobody can multitask.
well, maybe that's it too.
So what was that band like?
It was a good time. I definitely enjoyed it. Great, great times in my life. The new drummer that we got, my friend Adrian, he's my best friend, still friends. He helped me move this weekend,
Oh,
so
lovely.
yeah, great relationships you keep for a long time. And yeah, it's good times. I mean, I enjoyed it for sure. It was a lot of fun. Like every, I guess some people's dream, right? I wanted to be some rock star or something. And it was fun. I enjoyed playing on stage and having a good time.
So it was like a rock band.
Yeah, some sort of I loved Third Eye Blind at the time. So I
Mm-hmm.
was really into them. I would say they were probably my biggest influence as far as songwriting goes and the style of music, that we did.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was fun.
Cool.
I mean, it was, early 2000s, Deep Ellum, that whole scene.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Yeah.
You know. So nothing
Um,
like, I mean, good God, this was, dropping the bucket. You're the pro here.
for better, for worse. I, it's my job. I want to point out this poster
Yes.
that I wanted to include in the
Yes.
shot here. This is Buck Meek. And he grew up near Dallas in Wimberley.
Oh yeah, Wimberley.
And actually
Beautiful place.
my or I think near Wimberley, but my one of the guitar players in my band, Adam Brisbane, he grew up near there too.
Okay.
But Buck is in that band Big Thief.
Big Thief. Yeah. Wow.
And then yeah, I love this poster, and this was printed by Little Maison with Twain. So this is like from their, this was, I was so into getting this framed because it was like the last, it was the second to last show that I got to go see before lockdown. So this was, this was January 2020. And then I got to go see Mike Watt in early March.
Oh, wow. Early March. Yeah, you were in the very end of right? That's when shows stopped, really, right? I mean, just after that, I
Mhm.
guess. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
It's gonna be so intense to go to shows again.
How is that? Yeah, that is, I mean, absolutely. And you know, it's funny. I've been talking with artists since the pandemic started. We pivoted right when that happened because we were doing
Mm.
in-person podcast, and then boom, we had to pivot to do remote, of course. And I've been talking with artists, you know, since it started. It's really been the same conversation, to be honest with you, as
Right.
far as right, like, well, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know when I'm going to get back to, you know, playing shows. You know, nobody knows anything. Is that sort of your position too? Although I do see some bands booking a few gigs now here
Mm.
in Texas.
Oh, cool. Right. No, we're not there. I mean, like 1 minute ago in LA, we had like 9% positivity rate. Like
Oh
some of the
wow.
hospitals, ICUs were like over 300% packed. Like, no, it's really dangerous out here. Like, plus like my lungs are pretty bad, so I have to be super careful.
Sure. Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, they're doing the shows socially distanced with masks, you know, it's all that, but they're still doing some show. At
Mm,
least that's something, I guess, you know, 25% capacity or something like that, or 50%
yeah.
capacity, you know.
I
I
don't
mean, to
trust
be
these people with their masks.
yeah.
I even I had to go to the doctor the other day, and this girl who was
Right here.
like
Shadow
it
right
was
here.
just, yeah, it was just like
Yeah, right
balancing
here.
delicately on her nose.
Oh,
Like, no, girl,
that
Jesus.
bothers me. When I see somebody's nose out, I'm just like, what are you doing? Right? You look ridiculous, first of all. You look ridiculous. Why do what I just don't get it. It's like, how
You're
is that
almost
your
there.
freedom taken away? Yeah, you're almost there, right? You're so close. Just a little bit more. You're so close. Yeah, I'm with you. Absolutely. It's very frustrating. I don't know. Are you the type of person to say something to somebody or no?
I am almost that bitch.
I've
But
done it. I've said it a couple
good for
times.
you. What do you
Not very
say?
much. So
What's
one
your
time,
like?
I mean, I'm honest. I'm just honest with the
Mhm.
situation. I'm just like, hey, can you put your mask on? That's it. That's all I'll say.
That's
Hey, can you
great.
put hey, can you put
Yeah,
your mask on? Boom.
it's
Some people
neutral.
forget. Some people forget. I forgot.
Ugh.
I was about walking into the store, you know, and the lady at the front, hey, you need your mask. I was like, oh my God. I'm so sorry. I felt like the biggest idiot. I really did. I was
Huh.
like, how did you forget you're in a pandemic, Patrick? How did you even forget this? So I went back to my car, grabbed it, and no
Mm.
problem. So that's all. That's my thought. I think maybe just some people are just forgetting or whatever. This one lady, she's on the phone in HEB in an aisle, where mask is down around her, you know, chest or whatever, and she just yapping and all this. Ma'am, I said, can you please put your mask on? Like,
Yeah.
not only you're spitting everywhere, all over the food. Like you're having the loudest conversation. I heard you 3 aisles down by the Asian food, right? Like this is
Mhm.
ridiculous. Yeah. So that absolutely. I mean, for the most part, if it's far away from me, you're right. Like if it's not, I'm not. But if it's near me, dude, that's my life. So I'm sorry, but I will say something. I don't care.
Good for
I mean,
you. I'm proud of you. Um, there's documented cases from 24 feet away indoors. Like, it's not safe.
you're right. You're 100% right. That's it.
So
It's not. Yeah, you're right.
I want to rep Austin restaurants that I love.
Yes,
Um,
please.
and I
What do you
really
like?
only have one by name because I honestly, I don't eat out much. I'm a good cook and I like my own cooking way better than most restaurants.
That's what I'm
Um,
talking about.
plus it's like you can afford to cook better at home than it is
You
to
get
eat
so
out.
much. Yeah, you get so much more, right? You're
Hmm.
absolutely. Yeah.
Actually, okay, so I love that place, Dai Due.
I love Dai Due. That is it's a butcher shop restaurant for those of you that don't know, right? Yeah, go ahead. You explain it. Yes, I love that place.
Oh yeah, so it's not just a butcher shop. I love all the like odds and ends you can buy. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of like a farmer's market a bit
Yeah,
in the
I
front.
could say I could see that. Yeah. Yeah, a little mini farmers market for sure.
I had a birthday there 2 years ago. Like I love that place.
Wow, glad you brought. We've actually talked about Dai Due on the podcast before. That seems to be a lot of people's favorite play. They have one of the best burgers I ever had there.
Oh my God, seriously.
It's
I mean, okay,
ridiculous.
I'm I was like a baby vegan when I was growing up in Houston. So like people say, oh, you know, Texas, like what can you tell me about barbecue? I can't tell you anything about barbecue, but like I
That's funny.
so but then like it was not on my radar, and I was one of those weird vegans. Like I didn't care. I wasn't like entranced by bacon, or you know, like I was just a straight up vegan and I was happy. And then all these doctors were telling me that I couldn't be a vegan anymore. And I mean, I know so many vegans that would be like, that is pure bullshit. But I was a very, very good vegan. You know, I was like I was reading nutrition books, and I'm a very good cook. So I couldn't save my own ass as like a great cook, and extremely nerdy about it all. So so I went back to being an omnivore. But yeah, Daidue, incredible burger.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. You know, that's interesting about the vegan thing because, look, not everything works for everybody. So even if you had a
Mhm.
vegan friend that's, oh, that's bullshit. Well, dude, everybody's body is different. So I'm sorry. Like, right. Like I've been in food for so long. This is like all I know.
Mm.
So I've had these conversations a million times with all kinds of different chefs or whatever. Everybody's different. Everybody and everybody is different. Right.
Mhm.
So what diet works for one person just does not work for everybody. I mean, that's just the case. So, you know, if someone's like, oh, paleo works for me or keto works for me, and you know, you should do it. Yeah, maybe give it a try. But if it's not working, don't think like, right, you're doing it wrong or you're bad or whatever. It's just some things don't work for people. And I've heard that with vegans, some bodies just don't work with it. I don't know. I think we're all a little vegan though. I say this all the time. We don't every meal we don't have a steak with, right? So it's like
Yeah.
you probably eat half vegan during the week. I'm sure not every meal has a bunch of meat in it.
Yeah, for
Right?
sure. Yeah, and that's a good way to talk about it. Yeah, people are so complicated.
Yeah. That's an understatement of the year right there.
Yeah, we're the most complex animals.
Yes.
And this blew my mind. I didn't really get this, but like, you know, we think of like raccoons as being tough, you know, like we think of other animals as like able to withstand stress, but we are actually the animal that can withstand the most stress and survive. Like a lot of critters would just die.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. I never thought about that. That is
It's
interesting.
it's yeah, and it has to do with like whatever, our brains and other stuff, but
Sure. Well, that makes sense. We're top of the food chain. We run everything on the planet here, right? Yeah, that would make sense that we could handle a lot of stress. Shit, I look at countries and how other people live and what they go through. Yeah,
Mhm.
I would say the human, right? The human mind can deal with a lot and keep going.
We've been through some crazy bottlenecks too. Like we've been down to like 2,000 individuals as a species before.
Really?
We've lived through a
Holy
lot.
shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I knew it got bad at some point. I remember seeing on
Mhm.
Cosmos or some shit. I didn't realize it was that low a number. Wow, that's like one bad storm takes us out, right? Sort of deal.
Totally.
Holy Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
And that they just had some proof in northern Spain that people have actually hibernated before.
I read that. I know what you're I feel like I read that a little while ago, actually.
Okay.
Yes, I heard about that. That is
It,
interesting,
it was
right?
Neanderthals. It was
Yeah.
Neanderthals, but they're still people.
Yeah, of course. I mean, absolutely, right? We merge together, right? Like that is interesting too, right? When you go back and look at all the different human species and how we all connected and where we are. What is it? They had Denisovans. Am I saying that wrong? I don't know.
I I don't know. I've just read it too.
Something like that. Yeah, it was Denisovans, Neanderthals, and I've always said Neanderthal, and then when I see on TV they go Neanderthal. So I don't know which way, right? Tomato, tomato. I don't know. And then yeah, I don't. It is fascinating. I do love that shit. To be honest with you, how we got here, how we are, who we are. I think it's
Mhm.
fascinating because here's the deal: you go to Starbucks. I don't go to Starbucks, but whoever goes to Starbucks and gets a drink and goes to whatever store and buys this. Like at the end of the day, if we were to zoom out, does that mean anything? It means shit. Half of the stuff we do day to day means shit. I mean, it just means nothing really. And I find that fascinating that we still do it. At the end of the day, we still do it. Imagine if,
We
right?
love
Like,
we love coffee.
yeah, we love we love coffee. That should be the name of that'll be on the tombstone of Earth when we're
Mhm.
dead. We love coffee. That's why we killed ourselves. But yes, that's I just find that fascinating and what life used to be like and how we got here, right? Imagine those 2,000 people back in whatever time looking through a crystal ball or something and seeing the world today and seeing how everybody's living. You think they're just like, dude, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Or right, like, what the hell? We're out here spearing cheetahs and you know what I mean? Jumping over cliffs and, free diving, whatever in the ocean. And these motherfuckers are just, you know what I mean? Just like doing whatever, going to comedy shows, playing music. Even that seems very like, a privilege.
Utopian.
Yeah. Utopia, privilege,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
That to me is fascinating. Yeah. I just find that so fascinating.
Mhm.
I wish we could time travel. I guess that's what I'm trying to get to.
What's that dude? The guy that talks shit straight to the billionaires' faces at Davos. Like his name's like Rutger something. Do you remember that guy?
No, I don't know
Oh,
if
I
I heard
love
about
him.
this.
He is so audacious. He's so good. Um, yeah, his name is like Rutger or something, and he's Scandinavian, so he's got a really cool last name that I can't remember. And it's he wrote a book called Utopia for Realists that came out like whatever in the last couple of years. So I recommend it. It's very hopeful.
Okay, I'm gonna look that up. Absolutely, I'm all about that. What's the gist, more or
So
less? I mean,
what's that?
what's the gist of it, more or less?
It's kind of like what you were saying. Like it's like looking back at somebody from the perspective of like the Middle Ages and what their dreams for the future were like and how we're basically living them.
100%. Yeah. Even the lowest. I mean, this sounds. I don't want to sound off topic or even insensitive, but just because we're on this
Mm,
topic, even somebody living in the lowest poverty probably on earth right now is maybe even living better than somebody back at that time. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense, right? But then at the same time, you see people living in poverty today. It's like, dude, that's bad. I don't know if people were living that bad back then. Even the
yeah,
richest, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like how that changes, right? The richest people back whatever time ago, it's a joke, right? If we were to bring them into today, we're just a normal person is living better than them, you know. And
in
that is
in
fascinating.
some places I think that's true. Ugh.
Yeah,
But it's almost creepier to see people living that. It's creepier to see people living that badly when they don't have to.
100%. Well, with everything that we have and all the technology and everything, it's it's I don't disappointing. It's beyond that. It's beyond disappointing. It shouldn't happen, right? It's completely. Yeah, we have all the resources. We have everything to feed everybody. There is no food shortage. It's a big thing that comes up. How are we going to feed the planet? How are we going to feed
Yeah.
everybody? That conversation comes up. Population control. That's bullshit. We waste so much
Mhm.
food. We could actually feed the world 10 times over if we didn't waste as much food as we did right now.
I know, it's
So
really depressing. And that's another reason why I love cooking for myself.
me
I
too.
don't think we've wasted hardly anything. I had to throw out a loaf of bread. We're not even used to eating bread, so it got moldy or whatever. But like uh we have eaten so well during the pandemic. Like
That's
I
awesome.
signed up for 2 different CSAs because
Yeah.
I'm a very like basically nervous person, and I'm pretty good at planning under duress. So like as soon as I saw all this coming down here, first of all, I have a friend in Italy who was locked down. So she
Yeah.
before all of it happened here, I was like, people on Twitter were telling me to shut up. You know, like I was saying like, yep, the morgues are all full in these cities, and they're using churches and stuff. And people were mad at me. They were like, that's not gonna happen here. Like, okay. But
America,
so
we're America, right?
no,
Shit.
not anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this, you know, my like self-protective instinct is pretty strong, and my boyfriend is like this nice white man who's like nothing bad has ever happened to him in his entire life, and he's just, you know, he thinks he can talk his way out of any problem. And so my instincts kicked in, and I signed us up for CSAs because I was like, okay, we don't want to be leaving the house as much
Yeah.
as possible. And I got in like right, I was one of the last people to get this ranch CSA from this farm, Autonomy Farms. They're based out of Bakersfield, and it's the best food I've ever had in my entire life. Like,
That's awesome.
I don't know why we waited this long to get on this ranch CSA. It's just incredible. And then we've had this local vegetable CSA from, it's called South Central Farms, and it's brilliant.
awesome.
We get the small box and we can't keep up with it.
That's awesome. Are both boxes all vegetables and fruits, or does any of them have meats?
Oh yeah, the ranch one is all meat.
Has meats. That's the ranch one's
Mhm.
all meat. Okay, I see. So what kind of meats are you getting? I'm curious.
Mixed. It's always
Chicken,
mixed.
beef, that sort of thing. Bacon,
Chicken, beef, and lamb.
lamb. Nice.
Their bacon is really expensive, but I feel like I should spring for it sometime because
I
I'm
get
sure
it.
it's
It's not the bacon you're used to. It's a different
yeah.
real bacon. Honestly, I would say 90% of America has never had real bacon before. That's the truth.
From like pastured animals. Yeah, it's got to
It's
be
thicker.
incredible.
It's like it's like a piece of meat. Bacon is meat. People like we can, right. You get this little. Yes, it's like a whole different thing. Like I learned that really from living in Spain. I remember like living in Spain, and like they give you bacon. It was like I was like, this isn't bacon. What the hell is this? This is bacon. And I was like, we got crispy bacon in a crispy bacon. It's like they laugh at that like it's a fucking joke. Like we burn it. That's them telling us we burn the fucking bacon. It really is kind of true. You're really taking, right? You're cooking everything out of it. But I still love a good piece of crispy bacon. So, you know, whatever you grow up with it, you get used to it. But yeah, it's usually thicker cut. You season it. You cook it like a piece of meat. I mean, that's the truth.
They're the connoisseurs of pig, and they're like massaging them and feeding them special things like
bellota. That's what they call it. Those are the acorns they feed them.
Oh, awesome.
Bellota. The bellota is the special pig or hog in Spain. They feed them bellotas. Actually, just fall naturally from the tree, right? They just let them roam and eat this stuff, and you get the special jamon serrano that's called J5. So they have different levels, but that's like the highest level. You know, it's like literally $100 a gram or some shit. I mean, it's just like
wow,
crazy
yeah.
But it's the best thing you've ever eaten. I mean, it just melts in your mouth. Any fresh jamon serrano for me it's my favorite thing to eat, actually. If we're being frank here, that's literally my favorite thing to put in my mouth is a piece of jamon serrano. Like it really is. You keep them in your kitchen in Spain. You just have this leg of ham in your kitchen on a table and with a little knife, and you just, anytime you're hungry, you just walk up and hit off a few slices. I never stopped eating it. My roommates would get so mad at me. Like the American won't stop eating our ham. I was like, dude, we don't do this in America, y'all. We're not going to put a piece of meat like this out in the air just for everybody to go to town on. That's just not going to happen. Yeah, love that part of it. Oh man,
amazing.
Love talking food with you. Yeah, love talking food with you, Julie. This is awesome. What sort of stuff do you cook, by the way? You said you cook. I don't want to overlook that.
Oh, I'm really adventurous. I get really excited about like new processes. I'm trying to figure out how to make turnip cakes at home without a steamer. And I think I figured it out. Yeah,
Okay. Interesting.
because
I never
we
had
got
that. I never even tried to make it. I don't even know where to begin.
I was successful like one time, but that was a while ago. We have a lot of daikons
Yeah.
from the box, so I'm
Mhm.
trying to like honor the daikons. I love turnip cake. I love like dim sum turnip cakes,
Yeah.
and I think that's a Chinese turnip, but daikon is like a very close relative.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Oh, I think it's just all radish, right? I mean, um, you know,
Yeah.
so if somebody were to just give you, some meat and vegetable, you could make something up. You
Oh, for
could.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a
I
real kind
love
of cook, right? Like to
I
me.
love cooking. I love cooking like a farmer like that. Like just, you have these things and this is what we have to eat.
Yeah. People will say like, I don't know, I'll have people over, I'm going to cook. I always cook for people. That's my big thing. I love cooking for people. I love it.
Mhm.
So, well, what's this called? What's this dish called? It doesn't have a name. It's this and this and this. What the fuck? It
Mhm.
doesn't have a fucking name. And everything has to have a name or be a dish. Does that make sense? Like you said, it's just
Yeah.
I had this protein, I had these vegetables, and I did this technique to this and this technique to that, right? And then we're eating. That's it.
Mhm.
There's no specialness to it, or as far as there's no name specifically to it. That's my favorite way to cook.
I I've learned so much in the past couple of years uh Don from Abuela Angela on De Mi Rancho a Tu Cocina.
Listen to
And
Spanish. Hablas muy bien, eh? Hablas muy bien el español.
I need to learn more. Oh my God. But like, there's a lot of people in my family that are native Spanish speakers. So like, I
Oh,
have
really?
no, I have no excuse not to have a decent accent. But like, uh, yeah, the De Mi Rancho a Tu Cocina is incredible. It's so fun. Have you ever checked it out?
Uh-uh.
It's so fun. It's like she's cooking in her kitchen in Michoacan, and like she has like this wood fired stove, and she has this really cool, I forget what you call them, but it's like a giant rectangular molcajete, and then she has her like little
Mhm.
one,
Yeah.
um and
Wow.
it's just so cool to like watch her just whip up a bunch of stuff.
That reminds me of my mom's from Mexico, so I grew up going there. I still go to Mexico, of course.
Cool.
That
Where y'all
reminds of
from?
Mexico City, mainly.
Awesome.
Mainly there. We have a lot of family in Guadalajara. Um, some small towns. If I name them, nobody's gonna know. Cocomacalan.
Okay.
Nobody's gonna know that town. It's
Awesome.
tiny, but yeah. Anyway, yeah. That reminds me of that. That's how we always used to eat. My aunt or somebody is cooking like that. All the time.
Mhm.
And you know what's funny is I took it for granted as a kid.
Oh yeah,
It was just
that's
normal,
cool. That's fine.
right? Yeah, it was just normal. But when I got older, and I saw other people's experiences with food, right? As I got older and you start talking to people and you're like, oh, wait, you didn't grow up like that? You didn't grow up going to another country and eating all this
Mhm.
badass food? Oh, I thought everybody did that.
Mhm.
And
You're
yeah, then I
lucky.
started to appreciate it. Yeah, I was very lucky to be honest with you. I was very lucky for that. Yeah, I was. And I definitely appreciate it now. It's a big part of how I cook, to be honest with you.
Right, totally.
You know,
Um, then the other cooking show that I've been so into is Pasta Grannies.
gosh, where are you getting these shows? I haven't heard of these. Where are they
Freaking
on?
YouTube, just
Oh,
YouTube.
YouTube. Okay, right on. I hear you. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. All right. I'm into these. I mean, I like watching. There's so many chefs on YouTube, right? There's so good ones too.
Mhm.
So many great, amazing cooks and chefs on YouTube. I love that. Okay, so what's this? You said Granny, what was it called?
Pasta Grannies.
Pasta Grannies. Okay, so I'm assuming they make pasta. I mean, right?
Yeah. And like there's just something about that really natural human way of learning something where you just watch somebody do something and then you know how to do it.
Absolutely. 100%.
And
Absolutely.
I started making pasta and I don't even measure anymore. Like I just
Look
and
at you.
I did not study anything. I just watched the ladies, and now I have unreasonable uh belief in myself. And
That's
it's so
good though.
cool. Like the first time I made gnocchi from scratch, like it's so delicious and it's so easy.
You know, it's funny. I used to know this chef, Matt Dillon, shout out chef. He owns a pasta company. They sell it at Central Market.
Cool.
It's like dried pasta, right? They dry it in Italy and then they fly it over, whatever. So he
Yeah.
told me this. He told me this thing one time. We went out to eat in Austin after South by. We worked an event at South by one time, and
Mhm.
we went to this place. I took him to this place to eat in Austin. I was like, they make fresh pasta. I'm taking him there. I want to, I was like showing off basically, right? Like, oh, let me
Yeah.
take him to this place. Let him eat all this fresh pasta. He's going to love me even more. I take him and no shit. He fucking hated it. He was just like, this
Mm.
is the worst pasta I've ever eaten. And he told me, Patrick, you know what? Just because a place says we make fresh pasta doesn't mean anything. Okay. That doesn't mean shit.
Mm.
That doesn't mean it's going to be, we make good pasta. Right. I was like, damn, I never thought about it. It's like, yeah, if you're making fresh pasta and you don't do it right, that's not good. So, go ahead and source it from someone who is doing it good and serve that, and I found that
Mhm.
interesting. And actually it scared me from getting into pasta. It scared me from
Oh.
it scared me from like getting into making pasta. I regret that because I want to be where
Mhm.
you're at. I want to be where you're at, where you're like, oh, that feeling of, I want that. I want that feeling.
Well, I'm sure your instincts are on, like if the way you get bad food is by using bad ingredients, so like
That's true.
those people could have been using like bullshit mafia controlled fake olive oil, you know
Hey, boy, that's a whole podcast right there. Absolutely. I know what you're talking about.
yeah, I mean, it's something as simple as that. They could have been using just bad flour, and you know how to
Sure.
buy flour. You just get, you just like do what the old ladies tell you to do, and you get some good eggs, and then it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah. Restaurants also have they have also another, was a level on top of it that maybe, someone at home just making it, right? They have control of everything. You've got all these
Mhm.
different people working on it.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe X and X are doing their part right, but so and so is fucking it up at the end. I've seen that in kitchens so many times. That's why that's the saying in the kitchen. You're only as,
Your
you're
weak
strong as
link.
your the weakest
Mhm.
chain. Exactly. Because that's true. It's absolutely true. One, because it's components. You're passing components along, right? It's like, okay, I'm gonna
Mhm.
do this, then you're doing this, and you're taking over. And if it doesn't go right, and I'm sure somewhere along the line, I'm sure that's what happened with that pasta or whatever. But what's funny is
Right.
I thought the pasta was good. So I
Right.
don't, what the fuck? It's like, I don't fucking know. That's another thing with chefs too. I'm sure it's the same thing with musicians, right? Every chef's got a fucking opinion. And,
Yeah.
this is how you know. Ask any chef, hey, how do you fry an egg? Every single chef will tell you a different technique. There you go. You just learned,
Oh,
right?
that's cool.
You just learned right there. Every chef's different, and that's just how it is.
That's really
You know?
cool. Sorry.
I'm sure it's with music though, right? Like,
Oh
you
yeah, for
know,
sure. I mean, I'm really, it's hard for me to listen to much stuff because I am so inspired by things that I can't understand.
oh wow.
And like if somebody's doing something I could do with my eyes closed, it's hard for me to get excited about it. So I'm always there for like the mystery. I'm always there for like somebody who can put these simple elements together and just come up with something that you can't understand.
I love
And
that.
I mean,
That's
cooking is
cool.
the same,
Yeah.
it's like, well, the magic is in the genius of the creator, the creative person.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what Buck Meek is like for me. It's like, I know he's playing a guitar, I know he's a higher primate with a guitar. but but there's some like unquantifiable magic happening.
That's so crazy. That's so cool. You know, I do say that about going out. I'm sure it's the same thing for music, right? Like if I'm going to go out, I want to get something that I can't really do myself. That's kind of why I want to
Mhm.
go out. And same thing when you're selling
Totally.
something, right? Like let's sell something that people can't get at home or they can't do it as well, right?
Mhm.
I mean, otherwise, kind of what's the point, right? Especially if and it has to do with pricing too. And now I don't want to get too technical, but you know, just because I used to deal with that so much. But that also leads into
Mhm.
pricing. If to me the price doesn't match what I ate, that will affect the taste of it. As crazy as that is. If I'm like, damn, this cost X amount, but it tastes like X amount, I'm not going to be happy because first of
Mhm.
all, restaurants can take advantage of that stuff. You know, they'll for some reason they'll charge more for some bullshit. You're really paying for that cool fucking art piece that they paid $50,000 for. So now they put it into the dish, right? And this thing over here on the wall, and these fancy chairs that really look great, but they not comfortable at all.
Mhm.
That's what you're paying for in the dish.
Mm.
The
Right.
flatware, or maybe just the dish itself. I work for a place that they spent $250,000 on plates. I was like,
Whoa.
I'm sorry, what? But I can't get a raise? Oh, hell no. Right? It was like, oh, hell no. We're bringing in plates from England. What the fuck are we doing? They're fucking
Wow.
plates. I was like, they're plates. The plate. They live like nobody is going to care. And nobody did care.
No.
To be honest with you.
Wow. That's
Absolutely.
impressive. That's impressively stupid.
Impressively stupid. That's what I thought too. But some fancy chefs, I'm definitely not going to name whose chef that was, but
Mhm.
anyone that's worked for me knows who that is. But it's like that's just what chefs do. Some chefs at a certain level, when you're trying to get best restaurant in town, okay, and you're trying to
Mhm.
win maybe a James Beard Award or something like that, or get
Mhm.
nominated, you're going to do things like that. You're going to get investments.
Yeah.
You're going to get, you're going to convince people that that's what you need to get to that level or something.
Mhm.
You really don't, but you know.
I have a set of really fancy German mid-century modern uh, dishware that I got from a family member, or a family friend passed away, and I helped run the estate sale. And I was like, this stuff is too cool. Like, I'm not going to be able to sell this at the estate sale. I can't sell it anywhere. I mean, like nobody cares because I mean, it looks exactly like stuff you can buy at IKEA. Nobody knows that it's German, and
Yeah,
nobody knows because that style was so influential that now like
sure.
there's a million cheap knockoffs.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. I'm just waiting to like give it away to some family members. It's under my
Here, this for
bed.
you. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Christmas gift, the re-gift we call it in my family, the re-gift. Yeah, I'm all about that.
It is beautiful though.
No, that's cool. That's cool. I like having things like that. Special, whatever. Things with some history that maybe other people don't see the value in. I'm okay with that.
Do you know those people East Fork in North Carolina?
Mm-mm. I don't think so.
It's Alex Matisse. His grandfather is the Matisse. But I like their website is really fun. Like
What is that?
they make pottery, they make tableware.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Very
Yeah,
cool.
it's kind of unbreakable too. It's like you feel good about buying something like from them like that.
Yeah.
And they're just a really cool company.
That's about, see, to me, I would make a purchase like that because of, you know, of helping a smaller right. I'm assuming it's probably a
Mhm.
smaller. I'm all about local. Right? If it's local,
Mhm.
I'm getting it. I mean, that's just bottom line. Even if it costs a little bit more, and it is going to
Yeah,
cost a little bit more.
it
I
does.
mean, people complain about that. Oh gosh, if I buy it's going to cost more. Well, yeah, dude. Why do you think that is? Okay, this other massive billion-dollar company is getting deals, tax breaks. You name it, they're getting all these stuff. Of course, they can offer this price. Like, but what's a long-term goal here, right? Are you really trying to
Mhm.
shut down your neighbors, Jim and Nancy, or whoever, for their bit? You know what I mean? It's like it's kind of crazy. Plus, you're going to get better quality with local. I
Oh
think
yeah.
a lot of time, right? Better
I
quality.
really I feel like that's, now that like we're not eating out, like I want to make sure that I really like what my table looks like. It's all that money we're not spending on other people's nice chairs.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yes, give it to a business that pays their people right.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Definitely agree with that. Yes. 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 That's a big issue right now. I heard they might not be doing this $15 minimum wage thing, by the way. I don't know how much of a supporter you are of that. I'm a huge supporter of that. I think it's way overdue. I mean, beyond way overdue.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if they kept pace with minimum wage from the 50s, it would be like $24 an hour or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And that would be right?
Um,
Like people could live off of that. That seems appropriate.
Not only should we be, having a minimum wage like that, we should also actually get something for our taxes. Like, people in Europe, they pay like slightly more so-called taxes, but then they get free tuition, they get really good healthcare, they get really good schools. And Americans need to like get some self-esteem.
Yeah.
Like it takes a fight, like those unions over there, they show their ass constantly, and I love them for it.
Absolutely. I mean, healthcare for sure. That is like the most ridiculous thing that we don't have universal healthcare here. I mean, it blows my mind. I mean, it's beyond mind-boggling. It makes zero sense, right? And the arguments you hear against it are to me, I don't want to say stupid because that's inconsiderate. I'm not trying to be inconsiderate, but they just don't make sense to me, the arguments of why we don't.
No.
Like you're trying to convince me that we shouldn't take care of our citizens. Like you're going to play this mental gymnastics game with me, right? Like, what are we talking about? And what's funny is if we did pass it 10 years down the road, nobody would even be thinking about it, right? It would just be, yeah, that's what we all wanted all along in retrospect, right? Like what's that? What are the 3 stages of, what is that? It's like, first it's denial, then it's anger or something. And then the last one is you accept it as being self-evident. Like it was true all along. It's
the
like,
stages of grief.
Is that what it is? Okay. Yeah.
Dude, I love this statement. I think I heard it from, Francesca Fiorentini said this. She said, we want to make the conservatives cry and then get them a free therapist.
I love that. Oh my God, that's funny.
I think my phone is dying. So should I do a song or what?
Yeah. What do you think? That would be great. I mean, our audience is going to love that. We clip these out and make them their own thing on YouTube.
Let me see. I'm playing my boyfriend's guitar. This is like this monstrous
trust me, whatever you play is going to sound amazing. I promise you.
I was too shy to ask you to take that trip with me. Style down in the kitchen, shaking like a leaf, but then like a dream that's coming true. You said it yourself. Why don't I ride with you? Wisdom just told us if there's one thing you can't lose, is that few. Doug Thomas's darling, only to be real, and that's all I ask of you. Is baby, be real. Please, baby, keep me nah, I should have practiced this. Nah. That's real. Well, come on, be my partner. Say the shining sea. I'm so glad I found you. I thought you were just a dream, but you are like a dream that's coming true. Yeah, you are like a dream that's coming true. May I my dream, well, take that ride. Well, come on, darling, answer the light and let it shine on. Let it shine on, just like Willie said. Lay out my dream, we'll take that ride. Come on, darling, out into the light and let it shine on. 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 Let it shine on through your windshield when you're driving west.
Wow.
There's like so much, there's like all this like harmony parts, and it's funny to
Wow.
play that song alone, and there's normally, you know, a guitar part instead of whistling.
I like the whistling. Actually, that's my favorite. I love that. Actually, I was thinking that. I was like, damn, that sounds so cool. That's really, I swear. That
That
was amazing.
that's
That was
my
amazing.
that's my one man band shtick.
Hey, you killing it. You killing it. That was great. No, that was fantastic. I really appreciate you doing that. I really do. And our audience is going to love that. That was so amazing. That was
Thanks,
great.
man. There's a reference to Doug Somm in there from San Antonio, and
Oh, really?
and there's a reference to Flying Willie Johnson from Beaumont. So there's some, and there's a reference to Tom Waits in there, and his mother is from Texas. So there was a little bit of
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know Tom Waits' mother is from Texas.
he's a man of mystery.
I would concur with that. Yeah, I've heard you've had a lot of history with the man. I love his acting, to be honest. You know, I don't know if anybody talks about that, but I love his acting.
No, he's amazing for sure.
I just saw him in the Book of Eli.
Oh, cool. When did that come out? I didn't see that.
That's a while ago. It was a Denzel Washington movie, like maybe 2014, 15, something around there.
Cool.
He's great in it. He's got a cool role in that movie.
Okay, I got to check that out. We never watched that much TV, but then the pandemic beat that out of us.
Sure. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I don't have cable or anything like that, but
Mhm.
I on Netflix for sure. I'm not gonna sit here and lie and pretend like I don't. I do. Okay, I do. I Netflix. Okay, it happens. Well, listen, that was really just amazing. I'm still feeling that. I love when people play. Oh no, her phone died. Okay, we lost her. Her phone died. That's okay. So, well, Jolie, thank you so much for that song. We will figure that out another time. Gosh, okay, dang, I didn't get a proper goodbye to her. So look, she just killed that song. Her phone was dying. She did say that, guys. So look, you know, that's the end of the interview. She wishes you well. I promise you. Please, we'll put all of her info in the description as far as checking out her website and all that sort of information, her social media, and I'll mention it in the. I'm sure I have already mentioned it in the intro as well. So anyway, all right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Look, we took it to the end. Okay, I got everything I could out of her, and she gave everything she could up until her phone died. Okay, that's a proper guest. She gave it all. Literally. So thank you to her. That was an awesome conversation, awesome performance, and I really hope y'all enjoyed it. Okay. Peace.
The Lone Star Plate podcast is produced by Texas Real Food. Go to texasrealfood.com and you can search your city for stores, butchers, restaurants, farmers markets, and more who are using fresh, artisanal, organic sources. It's a fun site that brings all natural options all together. I hope you enjoyed this episode. For more information, go to thelonestarplay.com. I'm your host, Patrick Scott Armstrong. Until next time.